Welcome to this audiobook summary of How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age, a modern reimagining of Dale Carnegie's timeless classic, adapted by Dale Carnegie and Associates Incorporated, with writer Brent Cole. Originally published in 1936, Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People revolutionized the way we think about human relationships, offering practical, heartfelt advice for building trust, fostering connections, and leading with influence. Now, in an era defined by instantaneous messaging, social media, and global connectivity, this updated guide breathes new life into Carnegie's principles, showing us how to navigate the complexities of the digital landscape with authenticity, empathy, and impact. We'll explore the book's core ideas, structured around its four key parts: essentials of engagement, 6 ways to make a lasting impression, how to merit and maintain others' trust, and how to lead change without resistance or resentment. We'll weave in real-world examples, historical anecdotes, and practical applications to show how Carnegie's wisdom remains not just relevant, but essential in today's hyper-connected world. Whether you're a leader, a professional, a parent, or simply someone seeking to build stronger relationships, this book offers a roadmap to meaningful influence. So let's dive in. Introduction: Why Carnegie's advice still matters. Imagine a world where every interaction, every email, tweet, or face-to-face conversation leaves the other person feeling a little better. That's the vision at the heart of how to win friends and influence people in the digital age. Dale Carnegie's original work, born in 1936, was grounded in a simple truth: dealing with people is probably the biggest problem you face. Today, that challenge is magnified by the speed and scale of digital communication. With billions of messages flying across screens daily, the potential for misunderstanding, offense, or missed opportunities is higher than ever. The book argues that Carnegie's principles, rooted in empathy, respect, and genuine interest in others, are not only timeless, but uniquely suited to our era of hair-trigger balances, where a single misstep can go viral. Unlike the self-promotion and gimmicks that dominate much of today's digital culture, Carnegie's approach is about soulful strategies, actions that spring from a desire to help others succeed. As the authors note, there is no such thing as a neutral exchange. You leave someone either a little better or a little worse. This philosophy, applied daily, transforms relationships, careers, and communities. The digital age, with its blogs, social media, and instant messaging, amplifies both the risks and rewards of Carnegie's advice. A careless tweet can ruin a reputation, as seen with public figures like Mel Gibson or Jesse Jackson, whose private outbursts became global news. Yet, a thoughtful post can build bridges, as demonstrated by leaders like Dana White, who turned an accidental tweet of his phone number into a fan engagement triumph. The book's mission is clear: to help us harness digital tools with the same humanity Carnegie championed, ensuring our influence is earned, not borrowed. Part 1. Essentials of Engagement. The book's first part, Essentials of Engagement, lays the foundation for all that follows. These 3 principles are not about quick fixes or clever hacks. They're about cultivating a mindset that prioritizes others' needs and builds trust, whether you're typing a LinkedIn message or shaking hands at a conference. In an age of hair-trigger balances, as the authors quote writer James Thurber, where a misunderstood word can spark disaster, these essentials are more critical than ever. Let's explore each one in depth, weaving together stories from history, modern examples from the digital world, and practical ways to apply them today. Chapter 1. Bury your boomerangs. Our journey begins with a principle that sounds simple, but is profoundly challenging. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Carnegie called critical words boomerangs because they often return to harm the sender. In the digital age, where every comment is a keystroke away from public scrutiny, this boomerang effect is amplified. A single negative tweet or careless email can unravel reputations, relationships, and opportunities. Consider the story of Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War, a masterclass in burying boomerangs. In July 1863, after the Battle of Gettysburg, Confederate General Robert E. Lee was trapped by a swollen Potomac River, his army vulnerable. Lincoln saw a chance to end the war and ordered General George Meade to attack immediately. But Meade hesitated, called a council, and let Lee escape. Lincoln was livid. He poured his frustration into a letter, writing, "I do not believe you appreciate the magnitude of the misfortune involved in Lee's escape. Your golden opportunity is gone, and I am distressed immeasurably because of it." But here's the twist. Lincoln never sent that letter. Found among his papers after his death, it revealed his wisdom. He knew that criticizing Meade would only breed resentment, undermining his leadership and their shared mission. Instead, Lincoln conveyed his disappointment tactfully, preserving Meade's dignity and their working relationship. Meade went on to serve honorably, and Lincoln's influence endured. This restraint, the book argues, is a model for us today. Now, fast forward to the digital age, where boomerangs fly faster and hit harder. Take the case of Dr. Patrick Michael Nesbitt, a Canadian physician who, in 2010, posted vicious comments on Facebook about his daughter's mother. Those private words became public, costing him a $40,000 fine and his professional reputation. Or consider Ryan Babel, a Liverpool footballer who tweeted a mocking image of a referee in 2011, earning a £10,000 fine and public backlash. As BBC blogger Ben Durs noted, social media gives us a very convenient and very tempting tool to vent, but the consequences are global. The book cites a 2009 Proofpoint study showing that 8% of U.S. companies with over 1,000 employees fired someone for social media comments. From a waitress fired for complaining about a tip on Facebook to Philadelphia Eagles staff sacked for derogatory posts, the lesson is clear. Criticism in the digital realm is a boomerang that rarely misses its mark. The authors quote endocrinologist Hans Selye, "As much as we thirst for approval, we dread condemnation. When we criticize, we trigger defensiveness, closing the door to influence." Practical application. So, how do we bury our boomerangs today? The book offers actionable advice. Shift from expose to encouragement. Instead of airing grievances online, share positive insights. If you must critique, do so privately with a trusted confidant. Resist bad-mouthing as a strategy. In a global economy, today's rival could be tomorrow's partner. Burning bridges limits future collaboration. Pause before reacting. When upset, wait 5 minutes before responding. This cools knee-jerk reactions, saving you from regret. Focus on self-improvement. Instead of pointing out others' flaws, work on your own. As G.K. Chesterton famously wrote in response to a newspaper's question, "What's wrong with the world? I am." A modern example comes from Dana White, president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. When he accidentally tweeted his phone number to millions in 2010, fans flooded his line. Instead of criticizing their intrusion, he took calls for 90 minutes, turning a mistake into a fan engagement triumph. His positive approach strengthened his influence, proving that grace under pressure pays dividends. Chapter 2. Affirm what's good. The second principle is to affirm what's good in others, a practice that taps into our universal need to feel valued. Unlike flattery, which is shallow and manipulative, affirmation is sincere, specific, and transformative. In a world distracted by social media noise and overflowing inboxes, taking time to notice and praise others' strengths is a rare and powerful act. The book brings this to life with a scene from the King's Speech. Prince Albert, plagued by a stammer, lived in fear of public speaking. His speech therapist, Lionel Logue, saw beyond his struggles. In a pivotal moment, as Albert vented his fears of failure, Logue interjected, "Bertie, you're the bravest man that I know." Those words stopped Albert in his tracks. They reframed his self-image, giving him the courage to become King George VI, a leader who rallied Britain during World War II. Logue's affirmation didn't ignore Albert's flaws. It highlighted a deeper truth, unlocking his potential. Contrast this with a modern misstep. In 2011, NPR executive Ron Schiller was caught on video disparaging political groups he disagreed with. His words, meant to be private, went viral, costing him his job and credibility. The book argues that both Logue and Schiller had a choice, to affirm or to condemn. Logue chose the path of influence, building up his subject with dignity. Schiller's lapse reminds us how easily criticism can overshadow good intentions. The authors draw on a Jewish parable to underscore the power of affirmation. A shepherd, tasked with guarding 100 sheep, notices one missing at dusk. Instead of shrugging it off, "After all, 99 are safe," he searches tirelessly for the lost sheep. This act sends a message to all the sheep. Each one matters. In human terms, affirming someone's worth, even in small ways, fosters loyalty and resilience. The book calls this psychological hardiness, the ability to face challenges with confidence, fueled by others' belief in us. Modern example, consider Best Western's social media strategy. In 2010, the hotel chain used Twitter to publicly praise employees for exceptional service, like a concierge who went above and beyond for a guest. These posts not only boosted morale, but also attracted customers who valued the human touch. Unlike generic corporate tweets, Best Western's specific, heartfelt affirmations resonated, showing how digital platforms can amplify positive reinforcement. Practical application. Applying this principle in today's world requires intentionality. The book suggests, be specific. A vague "great job" lacks impact. Instead, say, your presentation clarified our goals perfectly. Thank you for your clarity. Praise publicly. Share appreciation on social media or in team emails to amplify its effect. A LinkedIn post praising a colleague's innovation can inspire others. Encourage consistently. Don't wait for perfection. Acknowledge effort, as Captain D. Michael Abrashoff did when he wrote letters to sailors' parents, praising their contributions. One sailor, whose father had called him a failure, wept when his father finally expressed pride, a moment that transformed his self-belief. See potential. Look beyond flaws to affirm strengths. As the book notes, abilities wither under criticism and blossom under encouragement. A personal example comes from Clarence M. Jones, a Carnegie Institute instructor. His son David, labeled brain-damaged after a childhood accident, struggled with math and reading. Jones encouraged David's interest in electronics, using flashcards to build his math skills. Each correct answer was celebrated with hugs and dances, turning learning into a joy. By month's end, David mastered the cards, earned a B in algebra, and later won science fair prizes. Affirmation transformed a struggling boy into an honor roll student, proving its power to unlock potential. Chapter 3. Connect with core desires. The third principle is to connect with core desires, understanding and aligning with what truly motivates others. Carnegie believed influence flows from meeting people where they are, not where you want them to be. In the digital age, with access to vast information about others' interests and goals, this principle is both easier and more essential than ever. The book illustrates this with Steve Jobs, whose Apple empire wasn't built on technology alone, but on understanding consumers' desires for simplicity, beauty, and empowerment. The iPod didn't just play music, it promised 1,000 songs in your pocket, tapping into our longing for freedom and personalization. Jobs' ability to connect with these core desires made Apple a cultural phenomenon, proving that influence begins with empathy. A compelling modern example comes from a Dale Carnegie training student in Germany. Shy but curious, she wrote emails to prominent figures like German President Johannes Rau and the Dalai Lama, asking about their backgrounds and motivations. To her surprise, both responded with detailed letters, Rau with 2 pages and the Dalai Lama with a book. Her sincere questions unlocked their stories, showing that even the busiest people will share their desires if approached authentically. The book also cites Virgin America's 2011 campaign to transport Chihuahuas from overcrowded West Coast shelters to New York for adoption. By researching the ASPCA's goals, Virgin aligned its marketing with a noble cause, promoting the effort on social media. The campaign went viral, drawing media attention and boosting flight sales to Mexico. This win-win scenario shows how connecting with others' desires. Here, the ASPCA's mission and consumers' love for animals creates mutual benefit. Practical application. To connect with core desires today, the book advises. Research before reaching out. Check LinkedIn profiles, company websites, or social media to understand someone's values and goals. A tailored email referencing their recent project shows you care. Ask open-ended questions. In conversations or online, ask, what's your biggest priority right now? Or what inspired your latest post? This uncovers motivations. Align your goals with theirs. Frame requests as benefits. For example, instead of saying, I need your input on this report, say, Your expertise could make this report a game changer for our team. Be sincere. As the book warns, do not promise anything that you cannot deliver. Authenticity builds trust, while manipulation erodes it. An everyday example comes from a small business owner who used Twitter to engage customers. Noticing a follower's tweet about loving sustainable products, she replied, "We're launching eco-friendly packaging next month. Would love your thoughts." The customer felt valued, shared the tweet, and became a brand advocate. By connecting with the customer's desire for sustainability, the owner turned a casual interaction into a loyal relationship. Part 2. 6 Ways to Make a Lasting Impression. In a world where billions of messages compete for attention daily, how do you ensure yours resonates? How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age argues that lasting impressions aren't made through flashy tactics or self-promotion. Instead, they stem from genuine, human-centered actions that make others feel seen, valued, and uplifted. Part 2. 6 Ways to Make a Lasting Impression builds on Carnegie's foundational principles, offering practical habits to ensure your interactions, online or off, leave a positive mark. Dale Carnegie once said, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get people interested in you." In today's digital landscape, where a tweet can go viral or an email can be ignored, this wisdom is both a challenge and an opportunity. The 6 principles in this section are like brushstrokes in a portrait, each adding depth to the image you leave behind. Let's explore each one, weaving together stories from the past, examples from the digital age, and tips to bring these habits to life. Chapter 1. Take interest in others' interests. The first principle is to take interest in others' interests, a habit that turns strangers into allies by showing genuine curiosity about what lights them up. Carnegie believed that people are most engaged when talking about their passions, and in the digital age, where we can peek into others' worlds through blogs, posts, or profiles, this principle is easier to apply than ever. The book brings this to life with the story of Anne Rice, the author of Interview with the Vampire. In the early 2000s, Rice's career was waning, her books overshadowed by newer voices. Then she joined Facebook, diving into fan discussions with enthusiasm. When readers posted about her novels, she didn't just like their comments. She responded with thoughtful questions and gratitude, sparking conversations about their lives and inspirations. Her genuine interest transformed her fan base into a vibrant community, revitalizing her career. By 2010, her page had thousands of engaged followers, proving that curiosity can rebuild empires. Contrast this with a modern misstep. In 2011, a New York City restaurant owner dismissed Yelp reviewers as idiots in a public rant, alienating customers and tanking business. Had he engaged with their feedback, say, by asking about their dining preferences, he might have turned critics into advocates. The book cites a 2010 Cone Consumer New Media study showing that 64% of people want companies to interact with them online, not just broadcast. Interest, not defensiveness, builds loyalty. Practical application. To take interest in others' interests today. Explore their digital footprint. Check a colleague's LinkedIn or a friend's Instagram to learn what excites them. Comment on a post with a question like, "What inspired this project?" Showcase their passions. Share a client's blog post or retweet a partner's milestone, amplifying their work. Ask and act. In emails or meetings, ask about someone's hobbies or goals, then follow up. If a coworker loves hiking, send a trail recommendation later. Be present. When engaging, focus fully, don't multitask. As Carnegie said, an investment in others' interests pays dividends in loyalty. A modern example comes from a tech startup founder who used Twitter to connect with potential investors. Noticing an investor's tweet about vintage cars, she replied, "Love your passion for classics. What's your dream ride?" Their exchange led to a meeting where her curiosity, not her pitch, sealed the deal. By prioritizing his interests, she built trust that opened doors. Chapter 2. Smile. The second principle is to smile, a universal signal of warmth that transcends mediums. Carnegie called a smile a messenger of goodwill, and in the digital age, where tone is often lost, conveying positivity through words or emojis is its equivalent. A smile, whether physical or virtual, disarms skepticism and invites connection. The book shares a story from Carnegie's own life. As a young radio broadcaster, he was stiff and formal until a mentor urged him to smile while speaking. The change was instant. His voice softened, his audience grew, and he landed a bigger show. That smile, carried through his tone, made listeners feel welcomed, proving its power even without a face. In digital spaces, smiles take new forms. The book cites a 2010 study by the University of Illinois, which found that positive tweets from brands, like Starbucks sharing a cheerful Happy Monday with a coffee emoji, generated higher engagement than neutral ones. Another example is Southwest Airlines, whose playful social media voice, peppered with heart emojis and warm replies, consistently ranks among the most beloved in customer service. Their tweet responding to a delayed passenger, "So sorry, John. We're working to get you there ASAP," turned frustration into goodwill. Practical application: to smile digitally. Use warm language. Start emails with "great to hear from you," or end with "looking forward to crushing it," to mimic a smile's warmth. Incorporate emojis thoughtfully. A smile can soften a message, but match the context. Don't overdo it in formal settings. Inflect positivity in video calls. Smile visibly and use an upbeat tone to set a welcoming vibe. Mirror in-person warmth. As Carnegie advised, a smile says, "I like you. You make me happy." Reflect this in every interaction. A real-world example comes from a nonprofit leader who transformed her organization's email campaigns. Instead of dry updates, she began with lines like, "Your support lights up our mission," and signed off with a smile. Donations rose 15% in 6 months, as supporters felt personally connected. Her digital smile made all the difference. Chapter 3. Reign with Names. The third principle is to reign with names, recognizing that a person's name is the sweetest and most important sound in any language, as Carnegie put it. Using names signals respect and attention, making others feel uniquely valued in a world of generic interactions. The book highlights Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, who built a blogging empire from her Oklahoma ranch. In the early 2000s, her recipes and stories drew thousands, but it was her habit of addressing readers by name in comments and emails that set her apart. When a fan named Sarah posted about a recipe, Drummond replied, "Sarah, your twist on this pie is genius." That personal touch turned readers into a loyal community, propelling her to TV fame and cookbooks. Her use of names made fans feel like friends. Contrast this with a common digital oversight. Many companies send mass emails starting with "Dear Customer," which feels cold and transactional. A 2011 Epsilon study found that personalized emails, using recipients' names, had 22% higher open rates. Names matter, whether in a blog comment or a marketing campaign. Practical application: to reign with names. Use names naturally. In emails, start with "Hi, Maria," or in meetings, say, "Great point, Alex." It's a small act with big impact. Track names digitally. Use CRM tools or notes to recall names of clients or followers you engage with online. Personalize broadly. On social media, tag individuals in replies, like, "Thanks for the insight, @JohnSmith." Double-check spelling. A misspelled name, like Sarah instead of Sarah, can negate the effort. As Carnegie said, remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest sound. An example comes from a sales manager who boosted team morale by using names in daily Slack messages. Instead of "Team, great work," she wrote, "Kudos to Priya, Jamal, and Elena for crushing it." Engagement soared, and her team felt seen, proving names are a currency of connection. Chapter 4. Listen longer. The fourth principle is to listen longer, a habit that builds trust by giving others space to share their thoughts. Carnegie believed that listening is the ultimate compliment, showing you value someone's perspective over your own. In the digital age, where quick replies often trump reflection, this principle is a rare gift. The book recounts the story of Dave Carroll, a musician whose guitar was broken by United Airlines in 2008. When he reported the damage, United staff dismissed him, refusing to listen. Frustrated, Carroll wrote a song, "United Breaks Guitars," and posted it on YouTube. The video went viral, amassing millions of views and costing United an estimated $180 million in stock value. Had United listened, really listened, to Carroll's complaint, They could have resolved it quietly, saving face and funds. The book notes, if we don't take time to hear, we pay the price later. Contrast this with a success story from Zappos, the online retailer. Known for stellar customer service, Zappos trains agents to listen patiently, even to long-winded callers. In 2010, a customer shared a personal story during a return call. The agent listened, empathized, and sent a handwritten note afterward. The customer blogged about it, boosting Zappos' reputation. Listening longer turned a transaction into a relationship. Practical application: to listen longer. Read carefully online. Before replying to an email or comment, pause to understand the sender's intent. Summarize their point to show you've heard, like, I see you're concerned about X. Let's address that. Avoid interrupting. In video calls or meetings, let others finish before responding, even if you're eager to jump in. Ask follow-ups. Show curiosity with questions like, can you tell me more about that? This deepens the conversation. Practice digital silence. Don't rush to fill every pause in chats or threads. As Carnegie said, listening is just as important in one's home life as in the world of business. A modern example comes from a community manager for a gaming company. When players flooded forums with complaints about a buggy update, she read every post, responding with, I hear your frustration, Alex, and we're fixing this. Her attentive replies calmed the storm, retaining players who felt valued. Chapter 5. Discuss what matters to them. The fifth principle is to discuss what matters to them, focusing on others' priorities to build rapport. Carnegie taught that influence comes from aligning with others' interests, not pushing your own agenda. In the digital age, where data reveals what people care about, this principle is both strategic and heartfelt. The book shares the story of a Carnegie training graduate, a sales trainer named Laura, who won a major client by researching their values. Before pitching, Laura scoured the company's website and Twitter, noting their commitment to sustainability. She opened her email with, I admire your eco-friendly mission. Our training can empower your team to lead in this space. The client, impressed by her focus on their goals, signed on. Laura's preparation showed that influence begins with understanding. Another example is Tom's Shoes, whose Buy One, Give One campaign tapped into customers' desire to make a difference. By discussing social impact on social media, sharing stories of children receiving shoes, Tom's built a loyal base. The book cites a 2011 Nielsen study. 55% of consumers want brands to align with their values. Discussing what matters to them drives engagement. Practical application. To discuss what matters. Tailor your message. Before emailing a client, check their recent posts or mission statement to align your pitch with their priorities. Steer conversations. In chats or calls, ask, what's top of mind for you right now? Then build on their response. Share relevant content. Retweet a follower's post that aligns with their interests or send a colleague an article tied to their goals. Stay authentic. As the book warns, people can spot a fake a mile away. Genuine interest, not manipulation, wins trust. An everyday example comes from a teacher who used this principle with a shy student. Noticing his love for video games, she asked about his favorite titles during a parent-teacher conference, then tied lessons to gaming themes. He opened up, excelling in class, because she discussed what mattered to him. Chapter 6. Leave others a little better. The final principle is to leave others a little better, ensuring every interaction uplifts, even subtly. Carnegie believed that small acts of kindness compound into a reputation for influence. In a digital world often marked by negativity, this habit sets you apart as a beacon of positivity. The book tells of a corporate coach named Susan, who ended every meeting with, how can I leave you better than I found you? One client, struggling with a project, felt overwhelmed. Susan listened, offered a resource, and sent a follow-up email. You've got this, Mark. That small gesture boosted his confidence, leading to a breakthrough. Susan's habit made her a trusted leader, proving that upliftment is influence in action. A digital example is Patagonia, the outdoor brand. In 2011, their Don't Buy This Jacket campaign urged consumers to repair clothes instead of buying new ones, aligning with environmental values. Shared on social media, it inspired followers to share their repair stories, strengthening Patagonia's community. By leaving customers better, empowered to act sustainably, Patagonia deepened its influence. Practical application: to leave others better. End on a high note. Close emails with encouragement, like excited for your next steps, or you're killing it. Share positivity online. Post uplifting content, like a shout out to a coworker's win or a helpful tip for followers. Offer value. In every interaction, give something: a kind word, a resource, or a listening ear. Adopt Carnegie's mindset. As he wrote, try to leave every person you meet a little better, and you'll find your life enriched. A personal example comes from a freelancer who used LinkedIn to connect with clients. After each project, she sent a note. Loved working with you, Sarah. Here's a tool that might help your next campaign. Clients not only rehired her, but referred others, because she left them better every time. Conclusion: crafting a legacy of connection. As we wrap up this exploration of 6 ways to make a lasting impression, we see a common thread: the power of selflessness. Taking interest in others' passions, as Anne Rice did, builds communities. Smiling, like Southwest Airlines, fosters trust. Reigning with names, like Ree Drummond, makes people feel seen. Listening longer, unlike United, prevents disasters. Discussing what matters, like Tom's, aligns hearts. And leaving others better, like Patagonia, creates a ripple effect of positivity. In the digital age, where interactions are fleeting yet permanent, these habits are your toolkit for influence. They remind us that every click, every word, every moment is a chance to leave a mark, not for fame, but for good. As the authors write, the greatest endeavors are interdependent and interactive. By embracing these principles, you craft a legacy of connection, one impression at a time. Part 3. How to merit and maintain others' trust. In a world where a single tweet can spark a firestorm or a heartfelt email can forge a lifelong bond, trust is the currency that determines your influence. How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age argues that trust isn't won through charisma or cleverness alone, but through consistent, authentic actions that show you value others. Part 3. How to Merit and Maintain Others' Trust provides 10 principles to ensure your words and deeds inspire confidence, whether you're navigating a heated online debate or mentoring a colleague. Dale Carnegie once wrote, "The only way to influence people is to talk in terms of what the other person wants." In today's digital landscape, where misunderstandings spread at light speed, this insight is critical. The principles in this section are like bricks in a foundation, each strengthening the trust others place in you. Let's explore each one, blending stories from history, examples from the digital era, and actionable tips to bring these habits to life. Chapter 1. Avoid arguments. The first principle is to avoid arguments, recognizing that they rarely change minds and often erode trust. Carnegie believed that arguments create winners and losers, leaving resentment in their wake. In the digital age, where online debates can spiral into flame wars, this principle is a shield against chaos. The book shares the story of Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Brazil's president from 2003 to 2010. During his tenure, labor strikes threatened economic stability. Rather than confront union leaders head-on, Lula invited them to talk, listening calmly to their grievances. His refusal to argue diffused tensions, earning trust from workers and employers alike. By 2010, Brazil's economy was thriving, and Lula's approval rating soared to 87%. His approach showed that sidestepping arguments builds bridges. Contrast this with a digital disaster. In 2012, a U.S. politician's heated Twitter exchange with a constituent went viral, with insults flying publicly. The argument cost him voter trust and media credibility, proving that digital spats are rarely forgotten. The book cites a 2011 study by the Pew Research Center. 78% of people distrust leaders who engage in public disputes. Avoiding arguments preserves your reputation. Practical application: to avoid arguments. Redirect heated exchanges. If a debate flares on social media, respond with, "I hear you. Let's discuss this privately." Focus on common goals. In meetings, say, "We both want this project to succeed. How can we align?" Stay calm. When provoked, pause and breathe before replying. As Carnegie advised, you can't win an argument. Ask questions. Instead of countering, ask, "What led you to that view?" This shifts from conflict to curiosity. A modern example comes from a tech CEO who faced backlash over a product delay. Instead of arguing with angry customers on X, she posted, "We're listening and working to make this right. DM us your thoughts." Her calm, open approach restored trust, turning critics into collaborators. Chapter 2. Never say, "You're wrong." The second principle is to never say, "You're wrong," as direct contradiction triggers defensiveness and shuts down dialogue. Carnegie taught that influence comes from guiding others to new perspectives, not proving them mistaken. In digital spaces, where tone is easily misread, this principle is a lifeline. The book highlights Francis Collins, a geneticist and director of the National Institutes of Health. As a Christian scientist, Collins faced skepticism from both religious and scientific communities. Rather than telling critics they were wrong, he engaged them with questions like, "What evidence would change your view?" His respectful approach bridged divides, earning trust and advancing genomics research. His book, The Language of God, became a bestseller, proving dialogue trumps debate. Contrast this with a 2011 incident involving a tech blogger who publicly called a company's CEO wrong about a product feature on Twitter. The CEO doubled down, and the feud dominated tech news, distracting from the product's merits. A simple question, "Can you clarify your stance?" could have de-escalated. The book notes, telling someone they're wrong is like throwing a match on dry grass. Practical application. To avoid saying, "You're wrong," use gentle phrasing. Instead of "That's incorrect," say, "I see it differently. Here's my take." Ask for clarification. In emails, write, "Can you elaborate on that? I'm curious." Agree partially. Find a sliver of truth in their view, like, "I agree X is important, and I also think Y matters." Guide, don't confront. As Carnegie said, show respect for the other person's opinions. An example comes from a project manager who resolved a team dispute. When a colleague insisted on an outdated strategy, she didn't contradict him. Instead, she asked, "What if we tried this new approach for a week?" Her tactful nudge led to consensus, preserving trust. Chapter 3. Admit faults quickly and emphatically. The third principle is to admit faults quickly and emphatically, owning mistakes to build credibility. Carnegie believed that confessing errors disarms critics and shows integrity, a trait especially vital in the digital age, where transparency is demanded. The book recounts the story of Jim Joyce, a Major League Baseball umpire. In 2010, Joyce's incorrect call cost Detroit Tigers pitcher Armando Galarraga a perfect game. A rare feat. After reviewing the replay, Joyce admitted his mistake publicly, saying, "I took a perfect game away from that kid. I'm sorry." Fans and players, moved by his honesty, forgave him. Galarraga even thanked Joyce, and the two later co-authored a book. Joyce's swift admission turned a blunder into a testament to trust. In digital contexts, this principle shines. When Buffer, a social media tool, suffered a 2013 data breach, CEO Joel Gascoigne posted a detailed apology on X, outlining the issue and fixes. Customers praised Buffer's transparency, and user retention stayed strong. Contrast this with a company that downplayed a similar breach, losing 20% of its user base. The book cites a 2011 Edelman Trust Barometer. 81% of people trust brands that admit mistakes openly. Practical application. To admit faults. Own it fast. If you miss a deadline, email, "I dropped the ball on this. Here's how I'll fix it." Be specific. Detail the error, like, "My report had outdated data, and I'm correcting it now." Act to resolve. Follow apologies with action, showing commitment to improvement. Embrace humility. As Carnegie said, admitting you're wrong is a sign of strength. A small-scale example comes from a freelancer who sent a client the wrong file. She emailed, "My apologies, Sarah. I sent the draft instead of the final. Here's the correct version." The client, impressed by her candor, extended the contract, proving honesty pays. Chapter 4. Begin in a friendly way. The fourth principle is to begin in a friendly way, setting a positive tone to foster trust. Carnegie taught that warmth opens doors, even in tough conversations. In digital communication, where tone is easily misread, this habit is essential. The book highlights Gary Vaynerchuk, a social media guru. When negotiating with clients, Vaynerchuk starts emails with gratitude, like, "Thanks for your amazing work. It's inspiring. Even in disputes, his friendly openings keep talks constructive. His approach has built a multi-million-dollar empire, showing that warmth wins trust. A digital example is Starbucks' social media team. In 2011, when a customer tweeted about a wrong order, they replied, "So sorry, Emma. Let's make this right. DM us for a free drink." The friendly tone turned a complaint into a loyal customer. The book notes a 2010 Forrester study. 70% of consumers prefer brands with a warm digital presence. Practical application. To begin friendly. Start with positivity. Open emails with, "Hope you're having a great day, John." Use warm replies online. Respond to comments with, "Love your perspective, Lisa." Smile in video calls. A friendly nod sets a welcoming vibe. Match the medium. As Carnegie said, "A drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall." An example comes from a teacher resolving a parent's concern. Instead of a defensive email, she began, "Thanks for sharing, Mrs. Lee. I'm excited to help." The parent relaxed, and they collaborated on a solution, trusting her approach. Chapter 5. Access Affinity. The fifth principle is to access affinity, finding common ground to build rapport. Carnegie believed shared interests create trust, a truth amplified in the digital age, where social media reveals others' passions. The book tells of a manager who resolved a team conflict. Two departments clashed over budget priorities, but she noticed both valued innovation. In a meeting, she said, "We all want to push boundaries. Let's find a way to do it together." Her focus on affinity united them, leading to a joint project. Her leadership showed that common ground turns rivals into partners. Digitally, this principle thrives. In 2010, a marketer pitching a client noticed their shared love for hiking via LinkedIn. She opened her email. "I saw you're a hiker. Any favorite trails?" The client, warmed by the connection, signed the deal. The book cites a 2011 Harvard study. Shared interests increase trust by 30% in negotiations. Practical application. To access affinity. Research commonalities. Check profiles for shared hobbies or values. Highlight shared goals. In emails, note, "We both aim for excellence in this project." Engage on social media. Like a client's post about a shared interest, like charity runs. Be genuine. As Carnegie said, "Find what unites you and build from there." An example is a community organizer who united neighbors via a Facebook group. Noticing their shared love for local parks, she posted, "Who's up for a park cleanup?" The event drew dozens, bonding the community through affinity. Chapter 6. Surrender the credit. The sixth principle is to surrender the credit, giving recognition to others to foster loyalty. Carnegie taught that generosity with praise builds trust, a habit that shines in collaborative digital spaces. The book cites Ronald Reagan, who often credited his team for successes. During his presidency, he publicly thanked aides for policy wins, saying, "This was their victory." His generosity strengthened their loyalty, making his administration cohesive. Reagan's approach showed that sharing credit amplifies influence. In the digital world, this principle is powerful. When a marketing agency's campaign went viral in 2011, the CEO tweeted, "Kudos to our designer, Mia, for this masterpiece." Mia's morale soared, and the team's reputation grew. Contrast this with a manager who took sole credit for a project, alienating his team and stalling his career. The book notes a 2010 Gallup study. Recognition increases employee trust by 40%. Practical application. To surrender credit. Praise publicly. Tag colleagues in LinkedIn posts, like, "Amazing work, Tom." Share success stories. In emails, write, "This one was thanks to Sarah's insight." Celebrate others' roles. In meetings, say, "This idea came from Priya." Embrace Carnegie's wisdom. Give credit where it's due, and you'll gain more than you give. An example is a startup founder who credited her intern for a key insight during a pitch. The investor, impressed by her generosity, funded the company, trusting her leadership. Chapter 7. Engage with empathy. The seventh principle is to engage with empathy, understanding others' feelings to build trust. Carnegie believed empathy humanizes interactions, a truth vital in digital communication, where emotions are hard to convey. The book shares the story of a CEO who transformed his company's culture. During a 2010 downturn, employees feared layoffs. He held virtual town halls, listening to their concerns and sharing his own worries. His empathy, acknowledging their fears while outlining a recovery plan, rallied the team. Productivity rose, and the company thrived. His leadership showed empathy's power to unite. Digitally, empathy shines. When a customer tweeted about a delayed Amazon order in 2011, the support team replied, "We feel you, Mark. Delays are frustrating. Here's a gift card." The gesture turned a critic into a fan. The book cites a 2011 Forrester study. 65% of consumers trust empathetic brands. Practical application: to engage with empathy. Acknowledge emotions. In emails, write, "I know this is stressful. Let's solve it together." Use video calls. Facial expressions convey empathy better than text. Respond with care online. To a upset follower, say, "I'm sorry you're upset. How can we help?" Follow Carnegie's advice. Put yourself in their shoes. An example is a nurse who used empathy in patient emails. When a patient expressed surgery fears, she replied, "I understand how scary this feels. Here's what to expect." The patient's trust grew, easing their recovery. Chapter 8. Appeal to Noble Motives. The eighth principle is to appeal to noble motives, inspiring others by aligning requests with their higher values. Carnegie taught that people want to feel their actions serve a greater good, a principle that resonates in purpose-driven digital campaigns. The book highlights Tom's Shoes Buy One, Give One campaign. By appealing to customers' desire to help others, Tom's turned shoe purchases into acts of charity. Social media posts sharing stories of children receiving shoes went viral, building a loyal base. The book cites a 2011 Nielsen study. 55% of consumers support brands with noble missions. Another example is a nonprofit's 2010 crowdfunding campaign. Instead of asking for donations, they appealed to donors' desire to empower youth, saying, "Your gift gives a child a future." The campaign raised $1 million, showing noble motives drive action. Practical application: to appeal to noble motives. Frame requests as purpose-driven. In emails, say, "Your input will shape our community's future." Highlight shared values online. Post, "Join us to make our city greener." Inspire in conversations. Ask, "How can we make a difference together?" Be sincere. As Carnegie said, appeal to what's best in people. An example is a teacher who motivated students by framing a project as a chance to inspire our school. Their enthusiasm soared, producing award-winning work. Part 4. How to lead change without resistance or resentment. Change is the heartbeat of progress, but it's also the spark of resistance. In How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age, Part 4 tackles the challenge of leading change without leaving resentment in your wake. Dale Carnegie understood that people don't resist change itself. They resist being forced, ignored, or undervalued during it. In today's digital age, where shifts happen at warp speed and opinions amplify instantly, leading change requires finesse, empathy, and a commitment to human connection. Carnegie once said, "The only way to get anybody to do anything is by making them want to do it." The 8 principles in this section are designed to inspire that desire, turning potential adversaries into allies. From boardrooms to social media threads, these habits ensure your leadership fosters unity, not division. Let's explore each one, weaving together stories from the past, examples from our digital world, and actionable tips to make change a shared journey. Chapter 1. Begin on a positive note. The first principle is to begin on a positive note, setting a collaborative tone by starting with praise or optimism. Carnegie believed that positivity lowers defenses, making others receptive to change. In a digital world where cold emails and abrupt posts can alienate, this habit is a game changer. The book shares a story from a Chicago hotel facing high staff turnover in 2010. To implement a new scheduling system, a change employees dreaded, the manager began by praising their dedication on Twitter, posting, "Our team's heart makes us shine. Excited for tools to make your work easier." This public affirmation softened resistance, and staff embraced the system, reducing turnover by 15%. The manager's positive start showed that appreciation paves the way for change. Contrast this with a tech company's 2011 blunder. Announcing a software overhaul via a blunt email, update mandatory by Friday, sparked employee pushback and slowed adoption. A positive opening, like "Your feedback shaped this upgrade," could have rallied the team. The book cites a 2010 Gallup study. Positive leadership increases team buy-in by 40%. Practical application. To begin on a positive note. Open with praise. Start emails with, "Your creativity is driving our success, team." Share optimism online. Post, "Excited for our new project. Your skills will make it epic." Affirm in meetings. Begin with, "I'm grateful for your hard work. Let's build on it." Follow Carnegie's lead. Start with honey to sweeten the path to change. An example comes from a nonprofit leader introducing a new fundraising platform. She emailed, "Your passion fuels our mission. This tool will amplify it." Volunteers, feeling valued, adopted it eagerly, boosting donations. Chapter 2. Acknowledge your baggage. The second principle is to acknowledge your baggage, admitting your own flaws or past mistakes to build trust during change. Carnegie taught that vulnerability shows you're human, reducing resistance by leveling the playing field. The book tells of a CEO who faced skepticism when rolling out a 2010 restructuring plan. Employees feared job cuts, recalling her earlier failed initiative. In a company-wide video call, she said, "I've made mistakes, like our last pivot, but I've learned to listen better." Her candor eased fears, and employees collaborated on the plan, leading to a 20% profit increase. Her openness showed that admitting baggage builds bridges. In digital spaces, this principle shines. When a startup's app crashed in 2011, the founder tweeted, "We messed up. My fault for rushing. We're fixing it." Users appreciated the honesty, and retention held steady. Contrast this with a brand that deflected blame, losing 25% of its followers. The book notes a 2011 Edelman Trust Barometer. 68% trust leaders who own their flaws. Practical application. To acknowledge baggage. Be transparent. In emails, write, "I've missed deadlines before, but I'm committed to this." Share lessons online. Post, "Our last launch had hiccups. Here's what we learned." Admit in conversations. Say, "I wasn't clear last time. Let's get this right." Embrace Carnegie's wisdom. Show you're human, and others will follow. An example is a teacher who faced student resistance to a new curriculum. She said, "I've pushed too hard before, but your input shaped this plan." Students, trusting her humility, engaged fully. Chapter 3. Call out mistakes quietly. The third principle is to call out mistakes quietly, correcting errors privately to preserve dignity and reduce resentment. Carnegie believed public criticism breeds defiance, while private feedback fosters growth. The book recounts a manager at a retail chain in 2010. When an employee botched a sales report, the manager didn't reprimand her in a team meeting. Instead, she sent a private email. "I noticed a mix-up in the report. Let's fix it together." The employee corrected the error and later led a top-performing team, grateful for the discreet guidance. Quiet correction built trust and results. In digital contexts, this is critical. When a social media manager posted an off-brand tweet in 2011, the boss messaged privately, "Let's align this with our tone. Great effort, though." The manager refined her skills, avoiding public shame. Contrast this with a public call-out that led to an employee's resignation. The book cites a 2010 SHRM study. Private feedback boosts performance by 30%. Practical application. To call out mistakes quietly. Use private channels. Send a DM or email, like, "I spotted a typo. Can we tweak it?" Frame constructively. Say, "This is close. Let's polish it together." Avoid public shaming. Never criticize in group chats or posts. Follow Carnegie's advice. Correct in private to keep hearts open. An example is a project lead who noticed a colleague's flawed data in a shared doc. He messaged, "Hey, I think the numbers need a check. Want a review?" The colleague fixed it, and their collaboration strengthened. Chapter 4. Ask questions instead of giving direct orders. The fourth principle is to ask questions instead of giving direct orders, empowering others to find solutions and feel ownership in change. Carnegie taught that questions spark collaboration, while orders breed resistance. The book highlights Navy Captain D. Michael Abrashoff, who transformed the USS Benfold in the 1990s. Facing low morale, he didn't mandate changes. Instead, he asked sailors, "What's one thing we could improve?" Their ideas, better food, flexible shifts, revamped the ship, making it the Navy's top performer. Abrashoff's questions gave sailors a stake in the change, earning their trust. In digital spaces, this principle thrives. A marketing director introducing a new campaign in 2011 emailed her team, "What do you think could make this campaign pop?" Responses shaped a viral hit, and the team felt invested. Contrast this with a director who ordered, "Implement this now," facing delays and grumbling. The book cites a 2010 Harvard study. Participative leadership increases commitment by 35%. Practical application: to ask questions. Invite input. Email: "What's your take on this new process?" Encourage ideas online. Post: "How can we make this event amazing?" Use open-ended prompts. In meetings, ask, "What's the best way forward?" Embrace Carnegie's insight. Let others own the solution. An example is a parent easing a teen into a new school routine. Instead of saying, "Do your homework now," she asked, "How can we make study time work for you?" The teen suggested a schedule, sticking to it willingly. Chapter 5. Mitigate fault. The fifth principle is to mitigate fault, minimizing blame to maintain morale during change. Carnegie believed that softening criticism keeps people motivated, not defensive. The book shares the story of a Civil War general who faced a soldier's failure to follow orders, risking a battle. Instead of harsh punishment, he said, "I know you meant well. Let's learn from this." The soldier, relieved, improved, and later saved lives. By mitigating fault, the general preserved loyalty and effectiveness. In digital contexts, this principle is key. When a remote team missed a 2011 deadline, the manager emailed, "Deadlines are tough with our workload. I should have checked in sooner. Let's regroup." The team rallied, meeting the next goal. Contrast this with a blame-heavy email that led to resignations. The book notes a 2010 Gallup study. Blame-free cultures boost productivity by 25%. Practical application: to mitigate fault. Soften criticism. Say, "This didn't go as planned. Let's fix it," not, "You failed." Share responsibility. In emails, write, "We missed this, my oversight too." Focus on solutions. Ask, "How can we avoid this next time?" Follow Carnegie's wisdom. Ease blame to keep spirits high. An example is a coach addressing a player's poor performance. Instead of "You let us down," he said, "Games get tough. Let's work on your shots." The player trained harder, trusting the coach's support. Chapter 6. Magnify improvement. The sixth principle is to magnify improvement, celebrating progress to motivate during change. Carnegie taught that highlighting small wins fuels momentum, making big shifts feel achievable. The book tells of a teacher, Clarence M. Jones, whose son David struggled with math after a childhood accident. Jones used flashcards, celebrating each correct answer with hugs and dances. By month's end, David mastered the cards, earned a B in algebra, and later won science fair prizes. Magnifying his progress transformed David's confidence and trajectory. In digital spaces, this principle shines. A software company rolling out a new tool in 2011 tweeted, "Shout out to our beta testers. Your feedback fixed 10 bugs. Users felt valued, and adoption soared." Contrast this with a company that ignored early adopters, stalling their rollout. The book cites a 2010 SHRM study. Recognition of progress increases engagement by 30%. Practical application: to magnify improvement. Celebrate publicly. Post, "Kudos to our team for nailing this milestone." Acknowledge in emails. Write, "Your edits made this report shine, Lisa." Highlight small steps. In meetings, say, "We're 20% there, great start." Embrace Carnegie's advice. Praise progress to inspire more. An example is a manager who praised a shy intern's first presentation. "Your slides were clear, Tom." Huge step. Tom's confidence grew, and he led future projects. Chapter 7. Give others a fine reputation to live up to. The seventh principle is to give others a fine reputation to live up to, inspiring them by assigning a positive identity. Carnegie believed that believing in others' potential unlocks it, especially during change. The book highlights conductor Benjamin Zander, who gave his music students an A on day one, asking them to write letters envisioning their future brilliance. This reputation inspired them to practice passionately, producing world-class performances. Xander's approach showed that high expectations drive excellence. In digital contexts, this principle inspires. A team leader launching a 2011 project emailed, "You're our innovation stars. Let's make this epic." The team, motivated by the reputation, delivered a groundbreaking product. Contrast this with a leader who micromanaged, stifling creativity. The book notes a 2010 Harvard study. Positive expectations boost performance by 20%. Practical application. To give a fine reputation. Assign positive labels. Say, "You're our problem solver, Sarah." Inspire online. Post, "Our community's changemakers will rock this." Reinforce in emails. Write, "Your leadership will carry us, John." Follow Carnegie's vision. Give them a reputation, and they'll rise to it. An example is a mentor who told a struggling writer, "You're a storyteller. Keep shining." The writer, inspired, published her first book, crediting the mentor's belief. Chapter 8. Stay connected on common ground. The final principle is to stay connected on common ground, building collaboration by emphasizing shared goals. Carnegie taught that unity during change comes from what binds us, not what divides us. The book recounts a company recovering from a 2010 strike. Management and workers were at odds, but the CEO held forums highlighting their mutual desire for a thriving business. By focusing on common ground, job security and growth, they crafted a new contract, ending the strike. Unity drove success, with profits up 10% the next year. In digital spaces, this principle unites. A community organizer in 2011 used a Facebook group to rally residents for a park renovation, posting, "We all love our green spaces. Let's rebuild together." Hundreds joined, bonded by their shared love. Contrast this with a divisive campaign that flopped. The book cites a 2011 Pew study. 65% of people trust leaders who emphasize shared values. Practical application. To stay connected. Highlight shared goals. Email, "We all want this project to succeed." Unite online. Post, "Let's make our city better. Join us." Reinforce in talks. Say, "Our common mission drives us." Embrace Carnegie's insight. Find what unites, and change follows. An example is a manager merging two teams. She said, "We're all here to innovate. Let's do it as one." The teams collaborated, launching a hit product. Conclusion: leading change with heart. As we close this exploration of how to lead change without resistance or resentment, we see a common thread: leadership rooted in empathy and inclusion. Beginning positively, acknowledging baggage, correcting quietly, asking questions, mitigating fault, magnifying improvement, giving fine reputations, and staying connected on common ground transform change from a battle to a shared journey. In the digital age, where change is relentless and scrutiny is instant, these principles are your compass. As the authors write, the greatest leaders make others want to follow. By living these habits, you inspire progress that not only succeeds but unites, leaving a legacy of trust and transformation. Conclusion: the art of human connection in a digital world. As we close this summary, let's reflect on the core message of how to win friends and influence people in the digital age. Influence is not about clever tactics or viral stunts. It's about the art of human connection, rooted in empathy, respect, and a commitment to leaving others better. Carnegie's principles, reframed for today's world, remind us that every interaction, whether a tweet, an email, or a handshake, is an opportunity to build trust and inspire progress. The book challenges us to shift from self-promotion to selflessness, from criticism to affirmation, from isolation to connection. In a digital age where noise often drowns out meaning, those who communicate with authenticity and care stand out. As the authors write, the greatest endeavors are interdependent and interactive. By applying these principles, we not only win friends and influence people, but fulfill a deeper purpose, making our world a little better, one interaction at a time. Thank you for joining me on this journey through how to win friends and influence people in the digital age. To dive deeper, pick up the book or explore Dale Carnegie Training's resources at dalecarnegie.com. Until next time, keep connecting, keep uplifting, and keep making a difference.